Hello and welcome back. So in this last lecture of this authentication and authorization section, I also want to show you how we can get the details of the logged in user. And for that, we are going to create another endpoint called /me endpoint. And whenever a client will make a request to /me endpoint, it will return the details of the logged in user. So in order to make a request to /me route, a user should be logged in first. He should be an authenticated user. So let's go to our Express app, and here let's first go to the routers folder and let's go to user router.js, and there I'm going to create a new route. For that, I'll copy this route. Let me paste it here, and here I'm going to create a new route where the path is going to be /me, and for this route we are going to handle a GET request. Now when a client makes a GET request to this route, first, we are going to check if the user who is making this request, if that user is an authenticated user or not. Because only a logged in user should be able to see his own details. A user should not be able to see the details of any other user. And that's why I am protecting this /me route from unauthorized access. Okay, so if a logged in user, if he wants to see his details, he can make a GET request to this /me route. So when a request is received for this /me route on our Express app, first we are checking if the request is coming from an authenticated user or not. If the request is coming from an authenticated user, then we are going to move to next middleware. The next middleware here is going to be our route handler function, and let's call this route handler function get details. So this route handler function is going to return the details of the logged in user. All right. Let's save the changes here, and now let's go to user controller.js, and there let's go ahead and let's create that route handler function. So we are calling that function as get details. Again, first I'm going to use this catch async function, and to that we are going to pass our route handler function. This route handler function is going to be an async function, and this function is going to receive the request object, it is going to receive the response object, and it is going to receive the next function. Now inside this function, all we are going to do is we are going to find the user, and if the user exists, we are going to return that user in the response. So for that, let's use this await keyword, and on the user model, we can use find by ID function, right? Now to this find by ID function, we need to pass the ID of the logged in user. Now from where we are going to get the ID of the logged in user? Well, if you remember, before this route handler function gets executed, before that, we are executing this is authenticated middleware function. And if we go to this is authenticated middleware function, so in the auth controller, we have this is authenticated middleware function. Inside this middleware function, we are checking if the request is coming from an authenticated user or not. And if the request is coming from an authenticated user, at the end, on this request object, we are adding a new property called user, and to that we are assigning the user data, basically the details of the user who is making the request. So if the request is not coming from an authenticated user, in that case we are throwing an error. So we are doing different checks, and if any of these check fails, we are throwing an error. But if all these checks are passed, after that we are adding this user object on this request, and to that we are assigning the logged in user. So when the request will reach to this route handler function, by that time on this request object we will have that user. So here we can simply say, in order to pass the ID of the logged in user, we can write request.user._id. Okay, and let's go ahead and let's assign it to a variable. I'll simply call it as user. Okay, and remember that we will reach here only if the user exists in the database, because in the is authenticated middleware function, in this function itself, we are already checking if the user exists in the database or not. So here we are already checking if the user exists in the database or not. If the user does not exist, we are throwing an error from here. Only if the user exists, we are moving to the next check. So by the time the request reaches to this route handler function, we can say that the user who is making a request to this endpoint, basically to this /me endpoint, that user exists in the database. Okay, so we don't need to do any other checks here. All we are going to do is now we are going to send a response to the client. So for that we can say response.send. Here I'm going to set the status code as 200. So for that, let's use status method. So I'm going to set the status code as 200, and then instead of send, I'm going to use JSON because here I want to send JSON data in the response. And in there, I'll set the status to success, and let's specify the data property. And inside that, I'm going to create a user property. And to that user property, I want to assign this user variable. And since the name are same, it will be automatically assigned. So in the response, I'm sending a status property where I'm setting the status to success, and I'm sending the data. And in that data, we have the details of the user who has made the request. Let's go ahead and let's test this API. So let me save the changes. Let's open Postman. And here I'm going to make a new request. So I want to make a GET request to API/v1/users/me. Okay. And before I make this request, what I also want is, let me go and let me open this auth folder. And here, let's open this login request. So here I want to log in this John Smith user. Let me send the request, and the user is logged in. We have received this 200 OK response. And let's go back to this request, and there let's go to authorization. Here, let's select bearer token, and there this JWT environment variable is automatically selected. Okay, so now let me go ahead and let me make the request, and it should return us the details of the logged in user. The currently logged in user is John Smith, so the details of that logged in user has been returned here. So this /me API is working as expected. It is returning us the details of the logged in user. All right, now before I wrap up this lecture, what I also want is in the user model. So let me open this user model. In there, I also want to add few more properties which I want to save for the user. For example, I want to have a bio property where the user can write something about himself. So this bio property, it is going to store a string value. So here I'll set the type as string. Okay. And I want to set the max length as, let's say, 1000. So 1000 characters should be enough for this bio property. After that, I want to have an address property. And in that address property, I want to have two properties. I want to have a city property, which is going to store a string value. And I want to have a country property, which is going to store the country of the user. So this is also going to be a string value. Okay, and all these properties are optional. This bio property is optional. This address property is optional, because when we are going to sign up a user, when we are going to create a user, at that time we don't need the details like the bio, city and country. So that's why these are optionals. These properties can be updated later after the user has created his account. And another property which I need is contact property. I also want to save the contact details of the user. And for the contact detail, I want to save the alternate email ID of the user and the phone number of the user. So here I'm going to create a field called alt email, or you can also call it as alternate email. And the type here is going to be string, because in this field I'm going to store an email address, and this email address will be different from this email. So this email is going to be the primary email of the user, which he has used for creating his account. But the user can also have an alternate email if we want communication on some other email ID. So for that, I'm creating this alt email. And on this, I also want to add some validation. So what I'll do is I will expand this email field. Okay. And from there, I'm going to copy these two properties, and let me specify it here. And I'm also going to copy this validator. So this validator is going to validate if the provided email is a valid email or not. So I also want that. Okay, let's format the document. Now here what I'm doing is, here you might be a little bit confused, like I have this contact property, and inside that, instead of specifying the type, I'm specifying another property. Well, this is called as nested documents. So in MongoDB, you can save a document inside another document, and that is called as nested document. Here, the main document is going to be the user document. In that user document, we will have first name, last name, email properties, etc. And there we will also have this contact property. Now, this contact property, it is not going to store a simple value. Instead, it is going to store a nested document. So these two curly braces, it is specifying a nested document. And in that nested document, I'm going to have a field called alt email, which is going to be of type string, which is going to store a string value. In the same way, I also want to add a country code property. So I'll simply call it as code. Here also, the type is going to be string. And here I'm going to set a default value. So if no country code is provided, I'm going to set the country code as +91, which is the country code for India. And then I also want to have a phone property. Okay. Here for the phone number also, the type is going to be string, but the phone number field should contain only numeric values. And the number of digits in that numeric value cannot be more than 10, and it can also not be less than 10. So that's why we are storing it as a string value. But now what we are going to do is, here, in order to validate that the value which we have received for this phone property, if it is a valid phone number or not, again, we are going to use the validate property. Okay. And to this, I'm going to assign an array, and inside that, I'm going to use a validator from validator.js. So just like we are using this is email from validator.js, in the same way, in validator.js, we have another validator called is mobile phone. So this validator can validate whether the provided value is a valid mobile phone or not. And let's also specify an error message if the value which we have received for this phone property is not a valid mobile number. So let me copy this message from here. Okay, let's paste it here, and let's simply say provided phone is not valid. Okay, so these are few new fields which I wanted to add in our user schema. So bio, address, and contact. If I save the changes, and let's go to Postman, and there let's try to update a user detail. So for that, I can go to this update me route, and from here, if I try to update a user detail, the user detail of the logged in user. So for example, I want to add bio, contact detail, and address. But if I go back to user controller, and there if I expand this update me route, here for now we are only updating the first name and last name. So just like how we are updating first name and last name, inside this user details to update object, we also need to add other properties which we want to allow user to update. So for that, let me copy this line. So we also want to allow user to update his bio. So if in the request body we have the bio, then we want to update this bio property with that bio. Otherwise, we are going to read the bio from the logged in user data, and we are going to use the same value and assign it to the bio property. In the same way, we will have an address property, and in that address property, we will have a city property, right? So to this city property, we want to assign the value which we have in request.body.address.city. So in the request body also, this request.body is going to store an object. In that object also, we will have an address property, and in that address property, we will have the city. Okay, so this is how we want to get the data in the request body for updating the user detail. Okay, and here also we can say address.city. Similarly, if the country value is provided, so here let's say country, In that case, we want to update the country with the country value present in request body. But if the request body does not contain any country field, then we want to assign this country with the current value of the country property which is stored in the database. Then let's also specify contact. This is also storing a nested object, a nested document where we are going to have the alt email. So from the request body, we are going to read the contact property. This contact is going to store an object. From that, we are going to read alt email property value. And if this value is not present in the request body, then we are going to read it from the user data which we have read from the database. So here I can say request.user.contact.alt email. Okay, let's do the same thing for country code and phone. So I'll paste it 2 times. Here I want to update code, and here I want to update phone property. All right, with this, let's save the changes. And now let's go back to this update me request. And here I want to update the details of the logged in user. The currently logged in user is John. So for that user, let's say I want to change his first name to Johnny. Okay, then I want to add a bio. Then I also want to add the address value. So for that, here we need to specify an address property which is going to store a nested document. In that nested document, we are going to have a city property. Let's say the city for this user is London. In the same way, let's specify the country property, and let's say country is United Kingdom. Okay, then let's say I also want to update the contact property, and it should be wrapped within quotes. And in the contact property, I need to specify an alt email. All these are optionals. If you don't specify them, then they will not be updated. But if you specify them, these fields will be updated with the new value. Or if they are not added yet, they will be added. So here, let's say alt email is going to be abc@example.com. If you want to change the country code of the phone number, that also you can change. So here I'll say +1 is the country code now. And let's specify the phone. And let's say phone is some random number. Okay. And if I try to send this request, let's see what happens. Okay, here we have received a 200 OK response. And in the response, we have received the details of the logged in user. So in the details, you will see we have received the user object. And for that user object, we have address, city set to London, country to United Kingdom. We have contact property. In the contact, we have alternate email, country code, and phone number. And then we have other details. So we also changed the first name. So the first name has changed to Johnny. And we can also see this in the database. So let me refresh this collection. And if you check this user, here the name has changed to Johnny. And for this user, we also have some bio. Here you can see the bio for this user, and you can see the contact details of this user, and you can also see the address for this user. All right, so this is all from this lecture. If you have any questions from this lecture, then feel free to ask it. Thank you for listening and have a great day.